Hearing examiner this evening. The purpose of this hearing is to allow me to receive evidence and testimony on the matters that are pending. I make a recommendation only to the county commissioners. I do not make the final decision. I will be submitting my recommendation to staff within 2 weeks of this evening's hearing. The application will then be scheduled for deliberations before the county commissioners. If you wish to give testimony, I need you to fill out one of the sheets in the back, and when you come to the podium, please give your name and address for the record before you begin your testimony. First, staff will introduce the application, then we will hear from the applicant. After the applicant's testimony, we will then get into the public comment sheets. We will hear from those who are in favor, those who are neutral, and then those who are opposed. The public not speaking will be read into the record. We will then give the applicant and/or their representative an opportunity for rebuttal of any testimony stated into the record from the public before we close the public hearing. After that point, we will receive no more testimony. The time limits are 30 minutes for the applicant presentation, 5 minutes for public testimony, and 15 minutes for applicant rebuttal. I would ask that you direct all of your testimony to me and not to the audience. Are there any questions with this proceeding tonight? Okay then, let's go on. We are hearing case number PUD 21-0003.
Good evening. For the record, Vlad Finkel with Kootenai County Community Development. As you have just stated, this is a request for an amendment to Gaza Ranch, Golf Ranch, and Lake Club PUD. Before I get into the specifics of the proposed amendment, I'd like to briefly cite some of the provisions from the Land Use and Development Code Title 8 with respect to the overall PUD review as it relates to amendments. Under Section 8.3.313, extensions and amendments, Subsection B Amendments, the first paragraph states, minor amendments to a PUD, its structures or uses may be approved by the director. Minor amendments include, without limitation, adjustments to platted lot lines or a combination of the boundary lines of platted and legally created unplatted parcels. The determination of whether a proposed amendment to a PUD constitutes a minor amendment shall be within the sound discretion of the director. The second item under this section of the code states that significant changes in use, structures, lot or boundary lines, conditions of approval, and all other aspects of a final PUD plan must be approved by the board in accordance with the application, hearing, and approval procedures for a new PUD. So having said that, I want to set the stage for why we are here before you tonight. Staff met with the applicant on this matter more than on one occasion. We have dialogue through the course of this review. And we do the same for any other PUD that we have. We have a few of them in the county, but they always present a challenge in addressing the need for minor or a major amendment. In this case, the applicant requested a couple of different items. Just a second. So the first item that was brought to the attention of staff was the consolidation of an existing residential parcel next to the golf course open space area that has an existing golf club facilities. And the purpose of that is to repurpose the existing residential use for a spa and med facility. Staff does not see that being an issue. What that would actually do is that would decrease the overall residential density that has been exercised by one, because it will be repurposed for more or less of a service or commercial use. And this is really an insignificant change. Had that been a proposal on its own, it's unlikely that staff would have requested a major modification to the existing PUD. But the second aspect of this major amendment is to add 3 additional parcels to the overall boundary of the PUD. I'll go back in history and explain in a nutshell what the original PUD comprised of. It consisted of 662 acres and a total density of 375 units. Through the course of last 17 years, the original approval was granted in case number PUD-049-04. Through the course of last 17 years, we have had actually a couple of different minor amendments, one of which was located on the east side of the PUD, and that included a boundary line adjustment to add additional 1.5 acres, and then a small area on the south end of the PUD to include another 0.5 acre. So both of these occurred within the last few years. One did happen in 2018, and the latest one happened in 2020. The director at the time made the decision that those were so minor in nature that they really did not present any further review outside of just an administrative process through Community Development Office. But this latest request is to add 1 parcel on the west side of the PUD, as well as 2 parcels on the east side of the PUD. The overall additional acreage would amount to 28 acres. And with the 2 previous minor amendments, should this amendment be approved, the total geographical boundary area would consist of 692 acres. I would like to reiterate for the hearing examiner as well as the public, this proposal does not request an increase in our overall density. And I would like to make it very clear, because some of the public comments that we received alluded to the fact that this was somehow increasing the intensity of the existing approved use. That's not the case. So all 3 parcels are located within the restricted residential zone. And the comp plan designation for at least one of them is shoreline, and the other 2, the one on the west side is shoreline, and the 2 on the east side is country. I don't believe that in my professional opinion, that the zoning and comp plan designation plays a huge role in this amendment, simply because the overall design criteria for the development of the PUD is not changing from the original proposal. Now, someone may ask, well, what's the benefit of this amendment to include additional 28 acres? And I did pose this question to the applicant, and it's pretty clear that there may be some divisions of land that would take place. However, as I stated just now, is that the overall density will not change. It will remain at 375. And to date, the applicants have exercised 335 units that have either been platted or constructed. So therefore, they still have 40 units available. And I'd like to add that it's maybe even more, because there have been some recent some lot consolidations that have occurred that may have decreased the exercised or utilized density even more than that. So there may be more than 40 available units that they could potentially plat within those lots that they are looking to add to the overall boundary of the PUD. Staff solicited comments from all the agencies with jurisdiction, and my understanding is that the agencies did not raise any concerns because they understand that the overall scope and intensity of use within the PUD is not changing. It's the addition of 28 acres. One of the, highlights of the North Kootenai Water Sewer District is that they are not opposed to the proposed amendment to the PUD to expand the overall area. However, they currently have a moratorium on the connections for water and sewer. And based on my analysis of this comment, we believe that the existing, or that the 40 remaining units that are available for platting or development could be utilized for the benefit of these 3 parcels that are going to be added to the overall boundary in terms of future subdivisions. And I believe that the applicant can further discuss that, but I think that was the common understanding between staff and the applicant, is that the remaining 40 units plus any that have been freed up with the recent lot consolidations could be used towards that, those subsequent subdivisions within the 3 parcels. I believe the remaining agencies really had no comments or concerns. During the public comment period, we received a total of 23 comments, 11 in support with 12 in opposition. A majority of concerns that were raised, in my view, perhaps are a misunderstanding of the overall request, because the concerns were raised with the potential increase in density from the overall original approval, dilapidated road conditions and how they could further be affected by additional traffic with this amendment, increasing traffic, noise, concerns about provision of water and sewer services, strain on existing rural infrastructure, as well as impacts to wildlife. And to put things in perspective, 28 acres that are being proposed to be added to the overall 662 acres of the original PUD boundary area is only 4% of the existing overall area. In our view, it's fairly insignificant. But we do believe that it is a major change to the overall PUD. Therefore, we're going through this public hearing process versus an administrative decision. We believe that the applicant can and will comply with the conditions of approval set forth in this recommendation. The code requires that the applicant files a final PUD plan with the county within 12 months to memorialize this request. Any subsequent subdivision that would occur on the 3 proposed parcels would be reviewed on their own merits under the subdivision regulations in Chapter 6 of Kootenai County Land Use and Development Code, Title 8. Therefore, those the findings in those requests and the review by the agency would be done at a different time. It's not something that's before us tonight. I stand for any questions that you have at this time.
I don't have anything for you, Vlad, right now. Thanks. And
Yeah, I'll set yours.
Do I just press the top one? Good evening. My name is Stephanie Blaylock. I'm a land use planner with Veritas. And our address is 3906 North Schreiber Way in Coeur d'Alene. I'm also here with Sandy Young, which is a planner with Veritas as well. And I'll wait until they're able to get the PowerPoint up. Thank you. We're representing the applicant, which is Discovery Coeur d'Alene Investors, in the amended request for an amendment for Gaza Ranch Golf and Lake Club, PUD. Vlad did a pretty comprehensive review of the project, so I'd just like to go over a few more things. It's not working. Go down. Thank you. The Gaza Ranch PUD amendment was approved in 2005, and the approval was for 375 dwelling units on the 662 acres of land. Also approved with the PUD was the clubhouse, golf course, restaurant, fitness center, and spa. To date, Gaza Ranch has 335 dwelling units that are accounted for, which leaves 40 dwelling units that have not been allocated to a lot or a project at this time. They're still available for future projects within Gaza Ranch. As Vlad mentioned, there's 2 minor PUD amendments that were previously granted by the Director of Community Development. Those 2 amendments added approximately 2 acres to the Gaza Ranch with no increase in dwelling units.
You don't have the touch.
Here we go. Oh, goodness. Somebody else want to run it for me, maybe? It's not. The second slide.
Can you advance it from your side?
Thank you. Next one. There are 2 main requests included in this PUD amendment. The first is to incorporate 3 parcels into the Gaza Ranch PUD. Those 3 parcels are intended to be used by the members. Therefore, they should be included into the development. There will be a total of 28 acres included into Gaza Ranch. The 7.9 acre on the west side of Gaza will be used as a recreational lot only. No residences are proposed in this area. The uses may include, but they're not limited to, a zip line course, hiking trails, snow tubing, archery, paintball, restrooms, and then structures associated with that recreational activity. The 2 lots, which are 10 acres each on the east side of Gaza, will be developed residentially using the already approved density units. It's important to point out that the 3 lots can be subdivided and developed on their own without being incorporated into the plan unit development. If developed outside of the Gaza PUD, the developer would not be required to use those approved unallocated density units. The reason for the amendment is to bring the parcels into the PUD so that it's a cohesive project with defined boundaries. Discovery would like their contiguous parcels that they own to be incorporated into their development. Again, we are not requesting the increase in density for the PUD. That will remain at 375 dwelling units. The second request is to move the spa and medical facility from the approved clubhouse location to lot C15, as you can see in the highlighted blue, and they combined C15 with the clubhouse facility lot. Lot C15 is a better fit and location for the spa building. The spa was approved with the 2005 Gaza Ranch PUD. This request is only a location change. There will be no additional traffic because no additional density units are proposed. The approved Gaza Ranch Golf and Lake Club Plan Unit development already accounted for and addressed traffic for the 375 residential dwelling units in 2005. This request had no opposition from agencies. When the development occurs within the PUD, the agencies have their standard requirements to meet, and we work closely with those agencies on a continual basis. We will meet their requirements. The proposal meets both the country and the shoreline comprehensive plan designation by incorporating more land. There will be more open space added to Gaza Ranch PUD, and the recreational uses will also be added to the PUD. Staff determined the PUD amendment complies with the requirements of a PUD application and recommended approval. In conclusion, the amendment request to the Gaza Ranch Golf and Lake Club would not increase the approved density units of the PUD, but would provide additional acreage for the home sites. It would increase the PUD open space, and it would expand the recreational acreage for its members. The PUD boundary expansion and relocation of the spa is consistent with the intent and the purpose of the Kootenai County Code and Comprehensive Plan. The proposed amendment is compatible with surrounding homes, businesses, and neighborhoods, and with the natural characteristics of the area. That does conclude my presentation. Thank you for considering our request, and I stand for questions.
Is there a history with why these parcels weren't part of the original boundary?
They actually purchased them after the PUD was approved in 2005, but not long after. I think the one on the west side was purchased in 2007, and then the 2 on the east side were purchased in 2010.
Okay.
So just afterwards. And they haven't done anything with them to date, but now they're ready to develop.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I do not have any public comment cards for here. Do we have anyone on Zoom who wishes to provide comment?
Is there anyone on Zoom at this time that would like to speak to this project? Anyone on Zoom at this time that would like to speak, please unmute yourself. Apparently not.
All right, then, if the applicant and staff are good with the points that have been made, then we can conclude the hearing this evening on PUD 21-0003. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
6:22.
Goodbye.
6:22. Oh, I hadn't heard that before on Zoom.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So once we're all done here, I go to File,
Just in case you don't feel weird.
and I can.